Tonight on CTV News, the Premier's confidence.
It is a confidence vote, absolutely, because this is work that we have to do.
Looming showdown over the province's decision to pause legislation on Indigenous rights and why the Premier believes it will pass.
We've turned the ship around and we like the direction of our city and where we're going.
Vancouver Mayor Ken Sims' first campaign promises with the local elections 6 months away.
I just don't even really know what to think. I instantly just grabbed my phone and it was like, no way, a cougar!
Cougar encounter. A family out on their boat captures this rare scene, a big cat swimming near Vancouver Island.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. First Nations leaders could be upping the ante over a contentious move by the NDP government. They'll be holding an emergency meeting to form a strategy to the NDP's proposed pause of DRIPA. The stakes are high, with the Premier making it a confidence vote. If it doesn't pass, British Columbians could be heading to the polls. CTV's Legislative Bureau Chief Rob Buffum has a story.
Premier Eby paid a visit to a Kelowna fruit drink company Wednesday, but his news conference was dominated by questions about changes to DRIPA, the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act.
I understand why First Nations leadership are anxious about the fact that the province has to put sections of the act on hold.
Eby pledging to pause portions of the contentious legislation for up to 3 years over concerns the provisions, cited in a recent mining case favoring Indigenous rights, expose the government to litigation. Many First Nations leaders see the move as a step back in reconciliation and say more lawsuits and protests are actually likely if the bill passes.
Obviously, litigation is a route that First Nations can take. And there's over 200 First Nations here in British Columbia. And I'm telling you, the majority are very frustrated and angered what the leader of the NDP party, the Premier himself, is doing.
Even though his party only has a 1-seat majority, the Premier has designated the bill a confidence vote. If it fails, his government topples, triggering an early election. Eby says he's confident it will pass.
What I very firmly believe is that we have the votes necessary to pass the legislation that puts these sections on hold.
But First Nations leadership have openly called for one or more of the 3 NDP Indigenous MLAs, including Joan Phillip, wife of Grand Chief Stuart Phillip, to not support the bill.
It only takes one MLA to mysteriously not show up. And then this could, set off an election.
Eby says he's hopeful that some of the 6 independents or Conservative and Green MLAs will support the legislation. The Greens have said they won't if First Nations don't, and the Conservatives are adamant they won't accept anything short of a full repeal of DRIPA.
We're not changing our position on that, and our voters are expecting us not to change our position on that.
Independent Dallas Brody tells CTV she won't support the bill either.
Simply a way for the NDP to avoid the heat on this issue right now and push it past the next election.
First Nations leaders are holding an emergency meeting for the province's chiefs Thursday as they plan their next moves in what's becoming an increasingly tense showdown with lots on the line.
And Rob joins us live from Victoria. Rob, the Premier has sent a letter to First Nations leaders. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Mi Jung CTV has obtained the letter, which I've had a look at, in which the Premier tells First Nations leaders today that he does intend to go ahead with these changes to the law, but at the same time, in his view, those changes do not form an impediment to also pursuing reconciliation. That view is opposed by First Nations leaders who, as I mentioned, are holding an emergency meeting of the chiefs tomorrow. And I've been told on Friday morning there will be an 8:30 press conference from First Nations leaders as well. So lots of tension here mounting outside of the legislature. And inside it, there will be a confidence vote in the coming weeks that could conceivably topple the government. Mi Jung.
Rob Buffum reporting live tonight from Victoria. It appears the ceasefire announced by Donald Trump yesterday is on shaky ground. And that means relief at the pump may be brief, even delayed, if the ceasefire doesn't hold. Analysts had been predicting a dip in gas prices, but that could all be erased if the Strait of Hormuz is once again restricted. CTV's St. John Alexander with the latest.
Despite a huge drop in the price of oil, there was little change at Metro Vancouver pumps. Analysts had been predicting relief, but once again, world markets are faced with doubt and unpredictability.
We do have a lot of volatility. We have the framework of a ceasefire, but will it hold is the big question.
All eyes are on this choke point in the Middle East and 20% of the world's oil supply. The White House insisting, thanks to the ceasefire, it's flowing.
And I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened.
I'm hopeful that it holds.
Now, if it does, petroleum analysts figure we could see dips here and there by the end of the week as markets begin to adjust.
It's basically letting some hot air out of the balloon. It's got too much air in it, so therefore we have to slowly release the air, and that's what you'll start seeing reflected at the pump.
Start seeing, because the conflict has had a huge impact on global supplies, and it could take months to get things fully restored.
And given that about 3 million barrels a day of refining capacity has been damaged, that can take months to years to be repaired.
Our military is watching. I'm sure their military is watching, but commerce will flow.
But it appears after Israel attacked Lebanon, Iran has halted traffic in the strait, which would likely lead to more pain at the pump.
We'll see if it goes up or down. Everything's changing minute by minute.
The moment the ceasefire was announced, the price of oil dropped sharply, but it is still $30 a barrel more than it was before the conflict began. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Later on CTV News at 6, the White House declares victory after Donald Trump announces a 2-week ceasefire in his war with Iran. This after the U.S. president threatened to erase an entire civilization if Tehran didn't open a critical shipping route. Voters in Vancouver go to the polls in just over 6 months, and Mayor Ken Sim already appears to be in full campaign mode. During a speech to the Board of Trade crowd, Sim made some new promises and took some subtle swipes at his rivals. CTV's Ben Milger has the details.
From the time he glad-handed his way into the room, and especially after he took the stage, it was clear Ken Sim's address to the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade was a campaign speech.
The work of getting our city back on track is well underway, but we're far from being finished. In many ways, we're just getting started.
Sim highlighted this year's property tax freeze without mentioning the nearly 22% increase over the 3 previous years. He also took credit for a decline in violent crime while swiping at rivals on council who are after his job.
Certain members on council want to return to the failed, reckless, and chaotic strategies that allowed these problems to get worse.
If re-elected, Sim promises to freeze property taxes for a second consecutive year. And he says he will commit $400 million in the next capital plan to rebuild 5 community centers. He also acknowledges implementing his vision for the city has been more challenging than he anticipated prior to being elected.
So we've learned, and we've pivoted, and what I can tell you now is through those learnings, we've turned the ship around, and we like the direction of our city and where we're going.
Rebecca Bly, Sim's former ABC colleague turned political foe, is running against him under the Vote Vancouver banner.
He said it himself that it took about 2.5 years for him to get up to speed on how things go. I don't know that he's any further ahead now. What I'm promising is that for 8 years I've been in council and I know how the system works.
Veteran councillor and Green Party mayoral candidate Pete Fry promises a more open and collaborative approach if he's elected.
As far as how business is done in the city of Vancouver, the backroom style that Mayor Sim has embodied and the lack of transparency, those are the absolute opposite of how I intend to run the city.
Voters certainly have a lot to think about heading into the election, and so does Sim, who must now defend his record as an incumbent, something he didn't have to worry about 4 years ago when he was a political neophyte. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Sim is pushing back against a defamation lawsuit from a city councillor. In a BC Supreme Court filing this week, Sim does not deny saying Councillor Sean Orr was handing out illegal drugs to people on the streets on Christmas Day, but says he has since apologized. His response also suggests that Orr already had a reputation that he supported drug use, and the comments did not harm him. Orr says he was not even in the city that day, and the statement was made with reckless disregard for the truth. Sim denies that and says the comments were made in the context of the opioid crisis. A family walk in Vancouver's Point Grey neighborhood turned frightening when a mother was threatened and robbed at knife point. Police say the woman was pushing her toddler in a stroller Tuesday morning when a stranger tried to grab her phone. When she resisted, the man allegedly threatened her with a knife and tried knocking her stroller over, eventually running away with her phone. Police say thanks to witnesses, patrol officers were able to quickly arrest the suspect nearby. 37-year-old Ibrahim Omar has been charged with robbery and uttering threats and remains in custody. Provincially mandated housing targets have been unpopular with some municipalities. Now West Vancouver is being overruled as the Premier doubles down on his government's Build More strategy. CTV's Penny Daflos explains.
West Vancouver is experiencing just how much power the provincial government has over municipalities.
We were clear from the very beginning. This was not optional work.
The city has only built a third of the housing units the province demanded, and now the housing minister has signed an order essentially rezoning the Ambleside area to build more housing.
West Vancouver is not unique in terms of their treatment by the provincial government, in terms of our expectations that they hit minimum standards in providing the housing that people need.
They have the legal authority to do what they're doing. I personally think it's better to work with a spirit of cooperation rather than imposing things.
The letter sent by the housing minister to West Van Mayor and Council does acknowledge they have taken steps towards adding housing and density. The mayor points out they've had several developers back out despite having permits.
We live in a market economy, and the market right now is really tough.
Some projects have had pushback from the community.
Is this like the floodgate that's going to open up a whole bunch of development that's going to further increase the density?
Just as the province has seen pushback from some mayors on the imposed targets and automatic fourplex approval.
One of the most ill-conceived, poorly thought out policy initiatives.
One size fits all does not work, and it will never work.
Despite a soft housing market that has brand new condos sitting empty in various communities across BC, the Premier shows no signs of backing down.
I'm incredibly proud and grateful for the work that municipalities have done to respond to the housing crisis. It is why British Columbia has the fastest declining rents of any province in Canada, despite facing huge housing challenges.
Challenges that include building plenty of homes the average person can't afford. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
It is 6:12, and we're taking a look at gorgeous English Bay from Grouse Mountain. I don't see too many clouds in the sky at all.
Absolutely stunning day, warm one as well, so hope you're able to get outside and soak it all in. Gorgeous tonight. Here's a look at temperatures across the lower mainland, sitting at 13 degrees at the harbor, 16 degrees in Pitt Meadows. You're looking at 17 degrees in Chilliwack and 15 degrees in Abbotsford. So as we head through the overnight, it will be clear and calm. 5 degrees is an overnight low. Into tomorrow, we'll see a high of 15 degrees near the water and 21 degrees inland.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Plan, book, and safeguard your journeys. Explore the possibilities at expediacruises.ca.
Couple more days of this sunny weather before it changes. I've got your full forecast coming up.
I want to go where it's going to be 21 degrees.
All right, head on to Abbotsford.
All right, thanks, Ann. There can be huge financial pressures for families with sick children. Tonight, a new concern for those who need to travel to Vancouver to receive medical treatment. Accommodation can be expensive, and more families will not qualify for funding to ease the burden. CTV's Dimitra Maragos reports.
Vanessa Turnbull says when her son Maverick was diagnosed with cancer at just 2 years old in 2024, life as she knew it changed forever.
It was definitely kind of shocking.
Turnbull and her son travel from Prince George to Vancouver every 3 months for life-saving care, often staying at a Ronald McDonald House or hotels. They rely on the BC Family Residence Program, which subsidizes accommodations for children receiving care at BC Children's Hospital or Sunny Hill Health Centre. But changes to the program were a hurdle she wasn't expecting.
Immediately, I was thinking, oh, how are we going to afford this if we have to come back?
The Ministry of Health says as of April 1st, it lowered the income threshold. Now only families earning under $80,000 a year are eligible. According to Ronald McDonald House, there was previously no income cap.
Families in the most stressful possible time need the support of the province. Organizations ourselves are able to provide a certain amount of that, but the government is needed to be able to provide that security for those families.
The changes also cap the number of covered stays from 30 to 21 days per visit.
So it definitely impacts my family and others, because you're basically sitting here getting in debt over just trying to survive and watching your child try and survive.
In a statement, the health minister says, in part, these adjustments are necessary to sustain the delivery of services to as many families as possible. Ronald McDonald House offers stays for just $12 a day, but spaces are often limited, leaving many families reliant on the BC Family Residence Program. Turnbull says families shouldn't have to worry about finances while caring for a sick child.
We need to ensure that there's as much services and support for all of these families as needed.
Demetra Marigo, CTV News, Vancouver.
A Fraser Valley Hospital emergency room is being hit with one of the longest closures it has ever faced. The ER at Mission Memorial will continue to operate under reduced hours for another 4 weeks. As CTV's Isabella Zaffarisi reports, that has left some parents extremely worried.
Cheryl Poitras is on pins and needles as her 4-year-old daughter waits to be evaluated for a severe allergy.
We don't know what the allergen is yet, so to not know what that is, not know when she could potentially have a reaction.
That anxiety only growing worse as the Mission Memorial Hospital's emergency room won't have doctors staffed overnight for the next 4 weeks.
Every second counts if she goes into anaphylactic shock. So not having access to emergency care could be the difference between life and death for my daughter.
On Tuesday, Fraser Health announced the ER would only be open from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. It was already on reduced hours since March 14th, bringing the total amount of service disruptions this year to about 2 months.
Unfortunately, it remains a dynamic situation.
Fraser Health says it's due to a shortage of doctors, despite recruiting physicians to Mission over the past 5 years.
And that stabilized, community programs and access to primary care, but we haven't necessarily seen that translate into increased staffing in the acute care setting.
In the meantime, ER nurses will be on site after 5 p.m. to assess patients, diverting the most serious cases to nearby hospitals. Conservative MLA Rianne Gasper has been lobbying the province about the chronic staffing issue.
Mission is feeling it, but really, and they're falling short. And, for me, it's not even an inconvenience, it's a safety issue.
The health authority says it's working to recruit more doctors and is hoping to have staffing stabilized by the summer. Fraser Health is holding a meeting April 22nd for residents to ask questions and voice their concerns. But for those who live here, they want solutions now.
For whatever reason, Mission is just not held to the same standard care-wise as every other larger city in the Lower Mainland.
Isabella Zaffarisi, CTV News.
Weeks of trauma. We hear from a Penticton woman who was detained in an ICE facility with her 7-year-old daughter. Also ahead.
Nothing ever like this before. And I grew up on the water too.
A rare sighting of a cougar swimming near Tofino. The family taking the video, happy to be safe on their boat. When CTV News at 6 continues. Stay with us. A Penticton woman is speaking out about how she was detained by ICE for several weeks. Tanya Warner and her 7-year-old daughter were released after a high-profile campaign to get them out. As CTV's Shannon Patterson reports, an immigration lawyer says what happened to Warner used to be unheard of.
Tanya Warner is back home in Kingsville, Texas with her 7-year-old daughter, Ayla, after they both spent nearly 3 weeks in U.S. immigration custody.
I presented it to her like we were on a weird vacation, that it was just where we had to be for now while the government
figured out our immigration because we're Canadians.
Warner moved from Penticton to Texas 5 years ago to be with her new husband, but he couldn't sponsor her for a green card because of a 1999 sexual assault conviction. Mother and daughter were pursuing a different path to a green card and were legally allowed to live in the U.S. pending a review when they were detained at an immigration checkpoint last month.
And I've been through this checkpoint multiple times, but this particular day, based on the changes in policy, they decided that they were going to detain me.
So I've been practicing U.S. immigration law in Blaine for almost 25 years, and you would never hear these cases in the past. They had to be very serious criminal convictions or immigration violations. You wouldn't hear of just random Canadians being picked up at checkpoints, driving around the U.S. and held in custody for weeks or months.
After 19 days in ICE custody, Warner and her daughter were released on bond last Thursday.
And I just want to show you guys something really neat. ICE fitted me with my own ankle monitor. You want to say something to everybody?
I got 2 stuffies.
Awesome. How are you feeling to be out?
Good.
I'm glad she got out. So they obviously did the right thing, immigration, by releasing her. But I'll be interested long term to see, whether she does get her green card and whether any of this detention affects her application.
With the help of a lawyer and a Texas congressman, Warner will argue she and Ayla should be allowed to remain in the U.S.
ICE is basically saying we want to deport her. And my lawyer is saying, no, she should be able to stay. So I have to basically win those court hearings in order to stay in the country.
She will be able to, explain her case to an immigration judge who has to follow the law, not just randomly deporting people.
But if Warner loses her case, she and Ayla will be forced to leave their life in Texas behind and move back to BC. Shannon Patterson, CTV News.
A family was out on their boat near Tofino when they had a once-in-a-lifetime wildlife encounter. Jenna Evans caught the rare moment on camera. A cougar can be seen swimming behind her family's boat as they were setting up crab traps. Evans says the big cat wasn't bothered by them. It was too busy battling the current. And while this wasn't Evans' first wildlife encounter on the water, she says she's never seen anything like this.
Nothing ever like this before. And I mean, I grew up on the water too, like always going out fishing and prawning, and I've never seen a cougar ever. I've never even really seen a cougar in my life. So I was happy that the time I did see a cougar, I was on a boat and it was nice and safe.
Evans posted the video on TikTok, which has racked up nearly 300,000 views, with a lot of people commenting on the shocking, rare encounter. Another blow for the federal Conservatives. Another MP has crossed the floor. Also ahead.
And I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened.
Fragile ceasefire. Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. What's the next move to try to find peace in the Middle East? That's ahead. The Prime Minister arrived at his office today commenting on the ceasefire between the U.S., Iran and Israel, calling it a good day. Both the U.S. and Iran are claiming victory, but the temporary truce appears shaky, and Iran is demanding that Lebanon be part of the deal. CTV's Joy Malbin has the latest.
On the streets of Tehran, they chant death to America as the U.S. Secretary of War declared victory over Iran.
President Trump forged this moment. Iran begged for this ceasefire, and we all know it.
This 2-week truce looking shaky at best. Iran is still holding up hundreds of oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, effectively controlling global oil production in the Gulf.
The Iranian response is we're going to control it and put a toll on everybody. And there's no ceasefire. Literally within the past hour, Saudi Arabia has reported that its pipeline, which goes from the Gulf to the Red Sea, has been hit by a drone.
Blocking the strait, says Iran, is retaliation. for Israel's continued attacks on Lebanon. Israel insists the ceasefire doesn't include their war against Iranian-backed Hezbollah. The fresh violence threatening to scuttle Washington's fragile truce.
And I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly, and safely.
President Donald Trump, who threatened to annihilate Iran just yesterday and back down, called this a big day for world peace, posting, "The U.S. will work closely with Iran, which we have determined has gone through regime change. There will be no enrichment of uranium."
So right now it's buried and we're watching it. We know exactly what they have. They'll give it to us voluntarily. We'll get it. We'll take it. We'll take it out.
Leaving many politicians wondering what this war was all about.
We have lost 13 American service members, hundreds of American service members wounded, thousands of people, innocent civilians throughout the region killed, prices going up, the American taxpayers paying $2 billion a day. And all for nothing.
The White House says Vice President J.D. Vance will lead in-person peace talks with Iran. The regime prefers him because of his past skepticism about Middle East wars. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
Back here in Canada, opponents of Alberta's separation rallied in Edmonton today. Demonstrators are calling on the Alberta government to stop a citizen-initiated referendum on the province's separation.
I think the showing here today is, like I said, a reminder that those agreements are sacred covenants to First Nations.
They're disregarding how we feel, and they're disregarding the treaty that we signed with the Crown.
Several First Nations are asking the courts for an injunction to stop the process. The group behind the referendum says it has already collected enough signatures to force a vote later this year. The federal Liberals are one seat short of a majority after longtime Conservative MP Marilyn Gladu crossed the floor. The MP for Sarnia, Ontario, said this was the best thing for our community's priorities. She's the fifth MP to join the Liberals in 5 months, all but one of them former Conservatives. Against all odds, someone in the Okanagan suddenly has become a very wealthy person. Also coming up. Some scary moments for passengers who got an unexpected blast of fresh air when a cabin door suddenly opened. What happened next?
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. The CTV drone flying high above the North Shore, looking towards Burrard Inlet and downtown Vancouver under a sunny blue sky.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
Scary moments for passengers on board a small plane in the eastern U.S. when a cabin door opened mid-flight. Video taken from the plane shows it flying with its partially open door while passengers remained calm. Shortly after departing from Nantucket, Massachusetts on Monday morning, the plane experienced an issue in which the upper portion of the main cabin door opened. The plane continued to operate normally before returning and landing safely. Someone in the Okanagan now has 75 million reasons to feel lucky. According to Play Now, a winning $75 million Lotto Max ticket was sold to someone in Penticton. They matched all 7 numbers on the draw. And one person in Langley and another in Ontario will walk away with more than $140,000 after matching 6 of 7 numbers. Wow. And our assignment editor regularly collects money for the lotto tickets. I guess he should have gone to Penticton.
Yes, I guess so. Can we tell them where to go next time? Just follow where the money is.
Downtown Vancouver would be convenient.
Yes, for sure. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Another beautiful day out there. The hot spot across Canada was in Lytton. 21 degrees as a high. The record set back in 2016 at 28 degrees. All thanks to this ridge of high pressure pretty much dominating the whole province, with the exception of Dease Lake. You'll see early morning flurries mixed in with some showers tomorrow morning. As you can see here on our storm tracker, it will clear out of the way as you head into tomorrow afternoon, but clear and calm to start off the early morning hours. For the south coast and southern interior, central coast and central interior as well, clearing up quite nicely. With the ridge of high pressure, we'll not only see clear and calm conditions, but warm temperatures as well as it builds heading into Friday. We'll continue to see those temperatures in the mid to high teens for near the water and in the low 20s further inland. You'll see lots of sunshine for the central coast and central interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. At Port Hardy, 11 degrees tomorrow under a mix of sun and cloud. 17s for Campbell River and Comox under blue skies and sunshine. That's what you can expect for the South Island as well, from Tofino right down to Victoria. Temperatures between 14 and 20 degrees. Sunny skies and 16 degrees for the Sunshine Coast. Warmer up the Sea to Sky Highway. 17 for Whistler, 19 for Squamish, and for us across the Lower Mainland. Under blue skies and sunshine, we'll see temperatures between 15 degrees near the water, 21 degrees further inland. Heading into Friday, we'll see a mix of sun and cloud and 16 degrees. Cools down on Saturday with cloudy skies and showers, and 13. We'll see unsettled conditions for Sunday and Monday with a few breaks and a few showers. Cooling down on Tuesday, periods of rain returns with 10 degrees as a high. And then on Wednesday, we'll see a mix of sun and cloud and a cool 9 degrees. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So soak in all the warm temperatures as we head into Friday.
Yeah, toasty temperatures for sure. So Abbotsford, the place to be tomorrow.
Yeah, Abbotsford and Chilliwack. The further east you go, the warmer it'll be.
All right, thanks, Anne. Good news for bus riders, which busy Metro Vancouver route is getting a major boost. Also ahead.
We've got really huge and high gas prices right now.
Could electric vehicle sales accelerate with sky-high gas prices? What's holding drivers back? And what industry insiders predict? That's coming up. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar was up, trading for 72 cents to the American dollar. Oil plunged, losing $18.54, closing the day below $95. Gold gained 92 on the day. The TSX and the Dow Jones both finished the day higher, up 383 points, and huge gains for the Dow, going up 1,325 points. Well, with gas prices sky high, some are wondering if now is the time to switch to an electric vehicle. They are still an expensive option, and some automakers are even pulling plans to build them in Canada. But drivers can find savings in the long term. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
Sam Eldar says the cost of filling up his truck is mind-blowing.
I've been driving in the city for as long as I can remember, and gas prices have never been this high before.
With gas prices across the country at or near record highs, Eldar is among the growing number of people contemplating going electric.
I do think about it a lot.
The EV and Charging Expo in Toronto is all about electrification, from the vehicles themselves to the infrastructure needed to support the shift toward EVs.
We've got really huge and high gas prices right now. And so the cost of electricity, the cost of running an EV is minuscule by comparison.
Nino DeCara is with Electric Autonomy Canada, which organized this trade show. He says while EV sales in Canada fell last year as a number of rebates expired, they rose again in the last quarter of 2025. He predicts the high cost of gas, along with new federal rebates, will nudge new buyers into the EV market, where costs to charge are less volatile.
You don't have these peaks and troughs in your pocket.
According to a study by rates.ca, roughly 30% of Canadians say they are interested in EVs, but the higher purchase cost and charging anxiety remain key barriers to adoption.
So I think part of the reason why adoption rates tend to be higher in Europe is because they have access to affordable electric vehicles.
And while many countries have seen EV sales soar, Canada has not kept pace with its peers. Slow sales and the trade war have led some automakers to pause or scrap EV production in Canada.
The demand that automakers were expecting didn't manifest itself. And so you have seen a lot of automakers make corrections to their manufacturing programs.
Still, industry insiders expect EV sales to pick up. Today, Ottawa announced nearly $11 million for more charging stations across the country, a move aimed at easing at least one of the barriers to EV adoption. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
A major transit boost is coming to the North Shore and Burnaby, with TransLink announcing it is fast-tracking a new rapid bus extension.
With reliable, fast, frequent transit services that allow people to have more choices about how they travel, we can start to see some real benefits to everyone who lives, works, and play here.
The R2 rapid bus runs from Phipps Exchange to Metrotown, connecting the communities with more frequent service. TransLink says buses will run as often as every 6 to 7 minutes at peak times, with larger buses to handle demand. The extension is expected to launch in September, more than 3 months ahead of schedule. It's just about a wrap on the worst season in the Canucks' 56-year history. And that means an uncertain future for Adam Foote. With a full rebuild getting underway, is it time for a coaching change? The Ringside Report is next. Plus, full house. Adam finds out why a woman's apartment has been filled with boxes for more than a decade. Coming up on the Sawatsky sign-off. Right now, here's Carrie with a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
Well, Thursday on Your Morning Vancouver, we'll have the latest out of Iran with a ceasefire now in effect. How long will things simmer as both sides look for a peaceful resolution? We're catching up with a retired Canadian general. And how artificial intelligence is creating a new layer of complexity for those struggling with eating disorders. We'll see you in the morning.
Brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. For your best financial health, choose FlexiLine Fitness from Capital Direct. Call us today.
The Canucks' nightmare season is nearly over, and in the cutthroat world of professional sports, that means a franchise shakeup could well be coming soon. CTV's Kevin Chirac takes a look at who's on the hot seat in this week's Ringside Report.
With a historically bad season nearly in the books, questions are growing about whether rookie head coach Adam Foote is part of the Canucks' future.
I think it's difficult to bring Adam Foote back given the struggles of this hockey club all season long, not just the overall record, but the 8 wins on home ice. That's a tough sell to a fan base.
The Canucks are set to finish with fewer than 10 wins on home ice, a mark worse than the expansion Vancouver Grizzlies in their inaugural season. Foote is under contract for 2 more years, meaning owner Francesco Aquilini would have to pay to move on.
He has paid 2 and sometimes 3 coaches in a given year based on past decisions. So from what I'm led to believe, that's not going to be a factor.
In Foote's defense, this is a full rebuild with multiple rookies and constantly changing lineups.
This roster was never set up to win, even before the Quinn Hughes trade.
And because of those roster issues, the organization's shakeup may not stop with the bench. General manager Patrick Allvin is also under contract, but his future could be in question.
I think all things are on the table, including the possibility of reassigning him to a different role and keep him. Because again, if you're going to pay him, might as well have him work for you if you can.
I wouldn't feel terribly secure in any position, whether it's at the coaching level, in the front office, even the popcorn sellers. I just think that absolutely everything has to be looked at.
A potential replacement for Allvin is Abbotsford Canucks GM Ryan Johnson, while Abbey head coach Manny Malhotra is seen as a top candidate behind the bench.
There's going to be teams that are interested in Manny. There's going to be better situations for Manny to be interested in. If I were the Canucks, I would move fast and do everything possible to secure Malhotra immediately.
The Canucks play their final home game of the season Tuesday against LA. Kevin Chirac, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Ringside Report, brought to you by Capital Direct.
CapitalDirect.ca.
The World Cup kicks off in a couple of months with Vancouver hosting 7 matches. But other BC communities will also get a chance to be part of the action. Canada Celebrates is making 38 stops from coast to coast after a test event in Victoria last month. The cross-country celebration will stop in Fort St. John, Kamloops, Salmon Arm, Revelstoke, Nelson, and Cranbrook. The events aim to bring the World Cup experience to communities through food, music, live match viewings, and soccer-themed activations.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. The Victoria one was pretty successful in the middle of the week. A lot of people came out. You're going to the Fan Fest, aren't you? One of them. One of the games?
Yes, I'm going to go watch it on the big screen there, so that should be a whole lot of fun. Yeah.
Good, you got a ticket. Okay, it's time for Homeward Bound, our weekly segment where we introduce you to furry friends from local rescues who are looking for their forever home.
That's right, and here are some cats from the Vancouver Orphan Kitten Rescue Association, also known as VOCRA.
Okay, you're not seeing double. Meet Stephen and Ivy, two siblings that are too cute. They can often be found curled up together or running laps around the living room. While Stephen may be a bit bigger and older, Ivy never hesitates to challenge him to a wrestling match. They would do okay in a home with other cats, but not dogs or young kids.
Aw, too cute. And if you're in the market for one black cat, meet Boba. He's a 2-year-old full of energy with a curious mind and big heart. Boba loves turning anything into a game and would do best in a home that can keep him mentally engaged. He'd be happiest as the only cat or with an equally playful feline who can keep up with him.
Look at him checking himself out in that mirror there. Finally, meet Tuna. Great name. This 2-month-old kitten is very friendly and loves to nap on her foster mom's chest or in the nook of her neck. If you're ready for a loyal, playful companion, Tuna may just be the kitten for you. Small catch, though. She has to be adopted as a buddy with another cat. Those companion cats, that's important. You gotta keep them together, right?
And these foster parents, they really get to know the cats while they're in their home.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so for more information, you can head to vocra.ca. And just before we get to the Sawatsky sign-off, Lauren's here with a look ahead to your late news.
Well, Mijang, a new fire has just sparked outside of Merritt and is still growing out of control at this hour. We'll be tracking that wildfire fight and have more on how BC is already preparing for this upcoming season. And we have local reaction tonight on the temporary truce between the U.S. and Iran. The ceasefire deal is already incredibly fragile as peace talks are set to begin on Friday. How the Iranian-Canadian community here at home is responding as they watch and wait for whatever could come next.
Thanks a lot, Lauren. Finally, Adam meets a Vancouver woman whose home is filled with boxes of other people's things. It's a labor of love rooted in loss. On tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
So much stuff.
When you arrive at Katie Grant's apartment,
this is my little tiny, very, very crowded home.
You'll likely be welcomed by walls filled with boxes.
I know where everything is. I know what everything is.
But to appreciate what's in the boxes, we need to go back to when Katie's mom died, her marriage was ending, and she was diagnosed with cancer, all in the same month.
So it was just one disaster after another.
And it felt like she had to face it all alone until she met a bunch of volunteers who ensured she didn't.
It feels pretty good in the sense that somebody cares. So people you don't know care.
Their selflessness proved so impactful, Katie felt compelled to pay their kindness forward, but was unsure where to start.
And then one day someone asked me, said, I have all these books. Can you help me figure out what to get rid of it?
So Katie made some calls, found a charity that would benefit, and delivered them the books, which led to doing the same with dishes, and then clothes, and before she knew it, her apartment was full of all sorts of stuff.
It's a monster project now. It's a monster project.
It's what Katie spends 60 hours a week doing, on top of working a full-time job. Accepting things that people no longer need before organizing them at home and delivering them to more than 40 organizations that do.
And then we come back and we start all over again.
And how does that feel for you?
Exhausting.
Yet Katie's been doing this for more than a decade.
If you really want to really feel good, give yourself.
And now that her cancer's in remission, Katie's feeling grateful for the opportunity to use this second chance at her life to make others' lives better.
I know I can make an impact, and I want to keep doing it as long as I can.
Because although her apartment is packed, her heart is even fuller. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Vancouver.
Oh, my goodness. That is a lot of stuff. I guess once she started helping people,
she can say no. She can stop.
No, and now her boxes are just everywhere. Okay, well.
She's got big purpose.
Yes.
Yes. Hopefully she'll be able to clear out some of that stuff.
Hopefully.
She needs to get those organizations in and then just take everything away from her.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. There are places that take these things.
Good for her. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A lovely mirrored view of Okanagan Lake and Lake Country. Thanks, Kevin, for sending this gorgeous shot in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well. So email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Gorgeous photo. And Lauren, you're going to be keeping track of that wildfire in there. Already talking about wildfires. Okay, thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.
Good night.